Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrives in the US, meets US Intelligence Chief Tulsi Gabbard, will hold bilateral meeting with US President Donald Trump. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi wraps up his France visit. In yet another special gesture, President Emmanuel Macron sees him off at the airport. Donald Trump speaks to Putin and Zelensky as efforts begin to end the Ukraine conflict. US President Trump and Putin meet expected in Saudi Arabia for peace talks. US President Donald Trump says he will sign reciprocal tariffs order soon as global trade war fears mount. And India completes an emphatic whitewash of England in a 3-match home ODI series just ahead of the start of the Champions Trophy. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in the United States on Wednesday for a 2-day visit. This is Prime Minister Modi's first visit to the US after Donald Trump assumed office for the second term. Also, this is the second leg of his two-nation visit. This marks the first visit to the US since President Donald Trump's second-term inauguration. The trip aims to strengthen India-US relations, focusing on key areas such as technology, trade, defense, energy, supply chain resilience, and global security challenges, highlighting the depth of the bilateral partnership. Prime Minister Modi will be staying at the Blair House, the historic guest lodging for dignitaries visiting the White House. During his 36-hour stay in the US, Prime Minister Modi is scheduled to hold bilateral meetings with President Trump. This is Prime Minister's first bilateral visit to the US since Trump was sworn in for his second term and places him among the select few foreign leaders visiting Washington within weeks of the new administration's inauguration. Prime Minister Modi is the fourth foreign leader to meet Trump in the White House in less than a month after he took office for a second term. He will also meet several members of Trump's cabinet, as well as US business leaders and members of the Indian-American community. Prime Minister Modi received a warm welcome from the Indian diaspora. Members of the Indian community waited at the hotel to have a glimpse of Prime Minister Modi. Despite the chilly winters, members of the Indian community gathered outside the hotel, chanting Modi, Modi and waving Indian flags to greet him. Prime Minister also reciprocated, waving his hand to the people and talking to the members of the Indian community.
अनुभव जो है बहुत ही अच्छा रहा। ये कहें कि विश्व का सब कुछ मिल गया। मोदी जी ने हमें आशीर्वाद दिया और भारत के प्रधानमंत्री जो कि इतने सुलझे हुए, इतने पहुंचे हुए, इतने कर्मठ इंसान हैं, जो लाखों करोड़ों भारतवासियों की दिन रात सेवा कर रहे हैं, ऐसे महापुरुष का आशीर्वाद पाकर जीवन धन्य हो गया।
बहुत अच्छा लगा, मोदी जी से हाथ मिलाया, मोदी जी ने बहुत खुश हो गया देख के मोदी जी को।
बहुत बढ़िया है, हमें उससे मिलकर बहुत खुशी हुई। इतना थक गए थे तो भी उसने टाइम निकाला और सब लोगों से मिले और अच्छी तरह से बात की और हमारे कंसर्न सुने और बहुत अच्छा लगा हमें।
We were waiting for him, so we got to see him very close. So I really am liking it. Like seeing him so close, it is really nice.
It's all worth it. Like 5 hours we are standing in this weather. It's freaking cold and you're freezing, but it's all worth it. Just one glance of him and he's so nice. Like, we just love him.
In his first bilateral meeting, Prime Minister Narendra Modi met freshly appointed US's Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, in Washington, D.C. On social media platform X, Prime Minister Modi congratulated her on her confirmation and discussed various aspects of the India-US friendship, with her of which she's been always a strong votary. Meanwhile, Tulsi Gabbard was sworn in as a top US spy on Wednesday with Republican support behind a nominee once considered one of President Trump's most controversial picks. Gabbard will now lead an agency established after September 11, 2001 attacks to coordinate the nation's intelligence operations. That is one of the most critical national security roles in the US government. Gabbard, who left the Democratic Party in 2022 to become an independent before backing Trump and joining the Republican Party in 2024, expressed her commitment to focus on ensuring the safety, security and freedom of American people.
Tulsi Gabbard's an American of extraordinary courage and exceptional patriotism. She's devoted her entire life to public service, and I've watched her for years on different shows and everything. I said, she's a woman of great common sense, and, you know, we like the common sense.
At the swearing-in ceremony, Trump entrusted her with overseeing urgently needed reforms to the U.S. intelligence community to protect the rights and civil liberties of all Americans.
So I look forward to being able to help fulfill that mandate that the American people delivered to you very clearly in this election, to refocus our intelligence community by empowering the great patriots who have chosen to serve our country in this way, and focus on ensuring the safety, security, and freedom of the American people.
All right, talking about Prime Minister's visit to France, collective global action on artificial intelligence dominated day 2 of India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi's France visit. Day 3 was not just about cultural linkages and people-to-people connect. It also focused on strengthening economic and maritime ties with focus on sustainable and limitless clean energy for the future. Let's take a look at this report.
After a power-packed day 1 in France, Indian Prime Minister and French President yet again scripted history in Marseille. Both the leaders jointly inaugurated the Indian consulate in this vibrant city, marking a new chapter in India-France ties. At the consulate, both the leaders were warmly welcomed by members of the Indian diaspora who had gathered to witness this historic occasion. Both the leaders also visited the Mazark War Cemetery in Marseille and paid tribute to the Indian soldiers who lost their lives during the First and Second World War. Both leaders laid wreaths to honor the sacrifices of the fallen soldiers. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Emmanuel Macron then visited the International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor ITER in Cadarache. Both leaders appreciated the progress of ITER, including the assembly of the world's largest tokamak, where 500 megawatt of fusion power will be produced. India is among the 7 ITER members contributing to the project over the last 2 decades. Focus was also on strengthening maritime ties. Both leaders visited the control room of CMA CGM, a French shipping and logistics company in Marseille. The two leaders held discussion on future collaboration through the India-Middle East-Europe Economic Corridor, which was launched during India's G20 presidency. As Prime Minister Narendra Modi's productive visit to France concludes, he emplained for his visit to the United States, where he will be holding talks with President Donald Trump. Prime Minister Modi was accorded a military farewell in France. In a special gesture, French President Emmanuel Macron came to see off Prime Minister Modi at the airport, showcasing once again a never-ending bond between both the two leaders. Jessica Taneja's report for DD India.
The Prime Minister's visit to France has been marked by an exceptional display of camaraderie and respect from President Emmanuel Macron, showcasing the strength of their bilateral relationship. Take a look at how the two leaders have shared their special bond, not only during the latest trip, but also over the years.
In the world of diplomacy, friendships are rare. But the bond between Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and French President Emmanuel Macron is a shining exception. Their recent meeting in France once again highlighted the strength of this partnership, built on mutual trust, strategic collaboration, and a personal camaraderie that transcends official ties. The embrace, the smiles, and the easy conversation set the tone for yet another chapter in the growing rapport. The visit wasn't just about gestures. It was about shaping the future. Co-chairing the Artificial Intelligence Action Summit, the two leaders reinforced their shared vision for AI's role in global progress. Beyond policy discussions, their personal connection was evident. From casual conversations to light-hearted moments, their chemistry reflected a friendship that has only strengthened over the years. In Marseille, the warmth of their bond extended to the people. Welcomed by an enthusiastic Indian diaspora, their joint presence symbolized the growing ties between India and France, not just at the government level, but at a people-to-people level. This isn't the first time Modi and Macron have displayed such bonhomie. From their heartfelt meetings at global summits to Bastille Day celebrations in 2023, their partnership has grown into a true alliance of trust and shared ambitions. As Modi's visit to France concludes, one thing is clear. This isn't just about diplomacy. It's a friendship that continues to shape the future of global cooperation, and with leaders who believe in the power of partnership. The best is yet to come. Tapas Bhattacharya's report for DD India.
The Indian and French leaders also visited the International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor during the visit. DD India's Jessica Taneja spoke with the Director General of ITER, Prasar Bharati, and K.R. Sriram, head of the Office of the Director General.
We have with us the Director General of ITER, Prasar Bharati. Thank you for speaking to DD India and taking out time. We've seen you at work. We've seen the contributions of the 7 nations. Tell us about India's contribution and what do you make of it?
Yeah, thank you. So, Indian contributions, as you have seen yourself with your own eyes, are very important for ITER. There is a cryostat, which was built by L&T. There has been contribution in the cryogenic lines, in many parts of the project. Plus, there is the human contribution. So many smart engineers that came here to work in the assembly and in the preparation of the delivery of the component. Very, very important.
You've seen the Indian Prime Minister's keenness on enhancing civil nuclear cooperation with France over the years. In fact, France was one of the countries and ITER is where we are at this point. How do you see this moving forward, especially when it comes to the leader of India who wants to continue with this momentum moving forward?
Well, I can only but welcome, say, the initiatives of your Prime Minister to reinforce, yes, the cooperation at international level for the development and the deployment of nuclear power. So fusion is one path, but, I'm conscious of the fact that fusion will take time to develop. So it's, say, at the frontier of technology. But we also have a problem. We have a problem that we have to solve in the world to, say, reduce gradually and maybe not as a little bit faster than we are doing our dependency from fossil fuels. And this is also important for India. So from that standpoint, to cooperate in the international frame, to develop nuclear power in general, it's very commendable. And I think that cooperation with India, I'm sure, would be welcomed by many fronts.
What are the expectations from India in particular, apart from the current initiatives?
So I would like to put the right emphasis that what I see from India is a lot of valuable contribution in terms of new ideas also. That's the first thing. Secondly, I am very happy about what has happened so far with Indian suppliers. We have very serious suppliers, reliable. Such companies will continue to remain engaged and work with us closely because, this work of assembly requires not only the workforce, but also the ingenuity and the organization of pre-existing large industrial suppliers such as the one you have in India.
We have with us Mr. K.R. Sriram. He's the head of office of the Director General here at ITER. Thank you for speaking to us, sir. You've been here for 6 years. This is your second stint. Tell us about the progress India has made over the years in terms of contribution to the ITER project.
India's contribution to the ITER project has been very significant. So the main contribution that India has made is through the cryostat, which is in fact one of the largest pieces of equipment forming part of the ITER machine. India has also contributed the cooling water system. It has made significant contributions to the cryogenic systems, and increasingly Indian contractors, leading companies like Larsen & Toubro, Inox India, are working directly with the ITER organization for doing very key components of machine assembly activities on-site as well as off-site.
Prime Minister Modi has been very keen on this project since the very beginning. How do you see things moving forward when it comes to his vision of how India is going to continue to contribute in the future?
I think the Prime Minister should be extremely happy with the level of contribution that India has made, India and Indian industry have made. And this would also help to lay the foundation for how the Indian nuclear fusion industry, both private and public, could be foreseen in the future. Until now, the primary focus of India has been on fission nuclear energy, which is of course remaining very important. But fusion as a potential source will become very important, and ITER's role is to demonstrate the scientific and technical feasibility of nuclear energy and lay the foundation for future fusion power plants. So once this project achieves, shall I say, a degree of completion and the research operations demonstrate such feasibility, I think the way forward would be clear for India on its for its own new fusion program and in collaboration with others. So this will be a very important step forward to demonstrate future fusion power plants.
You're watching DD India Live. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, stay with us for the latest from Maha Kumbh, thronged by devotees in record numbers. Marking the significance of radio as a powerful medium of communication, education and entertainment, World Radio Day being celebrated today. In sports, second seed Iga Swiatek makes it through to the quarterfinals of Qatar Open, while Jasmine Paolini falls back.
Prasar Bharati, in collaboration with IIT Delhi and Software Technology Parks of India, is organizing the DD Robocon 2025 this year as well. In this National Robotic Championship, engineering students will get ample opportunities to showcase their ingenuity and potential. The national selection for this championship will be held on the 12th and 13th of July, and the winning team will get an opportunity to participate in the International ABU Robocon Championship to be held in Mongolia in August this year. So, hurry up. The last date of registration is the 16th of February. For more information, log on to www.ddrobocon.iitd.ac.in.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India Live. US President Donald Trump said that he had a lengthy and highly productive call with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Wednesday, in which they agreed to immediately start negotiations to end the Ukraine war. Trump said on Truth Social that both the leaders had extended invitations of visiting each other's nations, while the US leader said that he would be calling Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky right now to inform him about the call. In an extraordinary thaw in relations between Washington and Moscow, the Kremlin separately said the call lasted 1.5 hours and that Putin and Trump had agreed that the time has come to work together. According to Kremlin, Putin also told Trump that a long-term settlement of the Ukraine conflict sparked by Russia's 2022 invasion of its pro-Western neighbor was possible and invited the US president to Moscow. The Trump-Putin call came after a prisoner swap this week that saw Moscow free US teacher Mark Vogel, while Washington released Russian cryptocurrency kingpin Alexander Vinnik. Trump said that he will hold a first meeting with Putin in Saudi Arabia.
Tomorrow they're meeting in Munich, as you know, and we're going to have some other meetings, and I'll be dealing with President Putin largely on the phone, and we ultimately expect to meet. In fact, we expect that he'll come here and I'll go there, and we're going to meet also probably in Saudi Arabia. The first time we'll meet in Saudi Arabia, see if we can get something done.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and US President Donald Trump had a phone conversation in which the leaders discussed the Russia-Ukraine conflict. During the call, Zelensky stated that they discussed opportunities to achieve peace as well as preparation of a document governing security and economic cooperation. Both the leaders also talked about US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent's visit to Kyiv, which focused on a deal concerning Ukrainian critical minerals between the two countries. As per Zelensky, Trump also shared details of his conversation with Putin, and they agreed to maintain further contact and plan upcoming meetings. The call took place shortly after Trump announced that he had spoken with Russian President Vladimir Putin about starting negotiations immediately with Moscow to end the conflict in Ukraine. US President Donald Trump plans to announce reciprocal tariffs on every country that charges duties on US imports in a move that ratchets up fears of a widening global trade war and threatens to accelerate US inflation. The president has already stunned markets by announcing tariffs on all steel and aluminium imports beginning on March 12th. That drew condemnation from Mexico, Canada and the European Union, while Japan and Australia said that they were seeking exemptions from the duties. Last week, Trump imposed an additional 10% tariff on Chinese goods, effective from February 4th, with Chinese countermeasures taking effect this week. He delayed a 25% tariff on goods from Mexico and Canada until March 4th to allow negotiations over steps to secure US borders and halt the flow of the drug fentanyl.
I was just with the president in the Oval Office, and I can confirm that tomorrow, the February 1st deadline that President Trump put into place at a statement several weeks ago continues. The president will be implementing tomorrow a 25% tariffs on Mexico, 25% tariffs on Canada, and a 10% tariff on China for the illegal fentanyl that they have sourced and allowed to distribute into our country, which has killed tens of millions of Americans. These are promises made and promises kept by the president.
Meanwhile, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said on Wednesday, if the United States imposes tariffs on imports of Canadian steel and aluminium, some Americans will lose their jobs and US growth will suffer. Trudeau also reiterated that Canada would respond with countermeasures if need be. US President Donald Trump is threatening tariffs on steel and aluminium, as well as a broader tariff on all Canadian imports. A US judge allowed Donald Trump's administration to carry out its federal worker buyout program as the Republican president moves to overhaul and downsize the US government, handing a setback to unions trying to stop the plan. The decision could clear the way for Trump administration to swiftly try to wrap the program up, though the unions could ask another court to halt the program. US District Judge George O'Toole in Boston dissolved an earlier order he issued that had paused the program at the urging of unions representing more than 800,000 federal employees, concluding the unions lacked legal standing to challenge the rule. Trump, who began his second term as president on January 20th, has appointed Elon Musk, a special government employee, to oversee a sweeping effort called the Department of Government Efficiency, with the stated aim of reducing federal budget spending and reshaping the United States' 2.2 million strong federal workforce, potentially purging thousands of workers. The Maha Kumbh 2025 in Prayagraj has drawn an overwhelming number of devotees to the sacred Triveni Sangam, the confluence of the Ganga, Yamuna and the mystical Saraswati rivers. With unwavering faith and devotion, more than 43 crore pilgrims have already taken the holy dip, seeking spiritual purification and blessings. With 13 days left for the grand event to conclude, officials anticipate that the total number of pilgrims could surpass an astounding 50 crore. Even after the completion of the three main Amrit Snans, Makar Sankranti, Mauni Amavasya and Basant Panchami, the enthusiasm of pilgrims remains undiminished. People from across India and the world continue to arrive daily, making the Maha Kumbh a global spiritual phenomena. The Maha Kumbh 2025 is not just a religious gathering, but a reflection of the rich spiritual heritage and enduring faith of millions. As the sacred waters of the Triveni Sangam witness history, the event continues to inspire devotion, unity and cultural pride. February 13th marks the World Radio Day every year to celebrate radio as a powerful medium of communication, education and entertainment. This day was established by UNESCO in the year 2011 and later adopted by United Nations General Assembly in the year 2012. This day implies the significance of radio, acknowledging the role in connecting people, spreading awareness and fostering communication globally. In this digital era where technological advancements have taken over, radio continues to play a significant role as it reaches the wide audience from far-flung villages to global broadcasting network at the same time, radio being the most accessible and efficient means of communication. The theme of World Radio Day for the year 2025 is Radio and Climate Change, emphasizing on the significant role of radio in raising awareness about climate change, educating audience on environmental issues and advocating joint efforts and action towards sustainability. Let's talk of sports. So India completed a commanding 3-0 clean sweep over England with an emphatic 142-run victory in the third ODI in Ahmedabad. Batting first, India posted a formidable total of 356 runs, with Shubman Gill leading the charge with a century. Virat Kohli and Shreyas Iyer contributed crucial half-centuries in their final outing before the Champions Trophy. In response, England managed to score only 214 runs as Indian bowlers delivered a collective masterclass. Arshdeep Singh, Harshit Rana, Akshar Patel and Hardik Pandya took 2 wickets apiece, while Kuldeep Yadav and Washington Sundar bagged 1 wicket each. On to tennis, second seed Iga Swiatek made it through to the quarterfinals of the Qatar Open on Wednesday, but Jasmine Paolini became the latest seed to fall. Polish world number 2 Swiatek fought back from a set down to eventually beat Linda Noskova of the Czech Republic 6-7, 6-4, 6-4 in a match lasting over 2.5 hours. In the last 8, Swiatek will meet Elena Rybakina, who had a much easier 7-6, 6-1 victory over Slovakia's Rebeka Stramkova. Italian 4th seed Paolini crashed out, losing 6-2, 6-2 in just over an hour to Latvia's Yelena Ostapenko. All right, that's it in this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. And this app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can download the respective QR codes. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.